Hello, I'm David.
And I'm Bria.
And we have returned for another Smallville video.
Yes.
We have not moved on to Season 2 quite yet.
Nope.
Before we did that, we thought we would go back and we would do a tier ranking list of every episode in Smallville Season 1.
Yes.
You excited?
Yes, lots to remember. But...
Yes, lots to remember. Luckily, I've seen it multiple times. I'll be able to give her a recap, and hopefully we'll be able to rank these very well.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe by the time we get to the end of the whole show, we can take all of our favorite ones and all our worst ones, and we can come up with a definitive.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about opinion. I'm talking about factual.
Factual, absolutely.
A definitive best and worst Smallville episode list. We might be able to do that.
I think
that's a long time from now, though.
Yeah, that'll be sometime.
Yeah, we've just done one season so far. We're not going to try to rush through this.
Yeah.
But eventually we might get to that.
Give you a reason to stay tuned.
Absolutely. So, that being said, like and subscribe. Please do that. Okay, now we are just going to, I say go for it.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go. Alright, so we have got 21 episodes in Smallville Season 1.
Yes.
And obviously, you got to start with the first episode that ever aired, which is called the pilot episode. What did you think about that episode?
I don't know much about Superman, so that gave a little bit, background information, kind of, where his origin is, how he, became, with his parents and stuff like that. So, I liked that a lot, because for someone going in not knowing anything, that was very informative. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and that's the episode. That's the episode where we get basically the whole introduction. You get the whole shebang.
Yeah.
You meet Martha and Jonathan Kent. You get to see Lana's parents die.
Yes.
You get to see Clark figuring out he's an alien. Mm-hmm. You get to meet Chloe and Pete. You get to see Clark's introduction to Kryptonite. You get that whole, what are you, Clark Man or Superman line from Lana. Mm-hmm. You get the crazy electrical dude. Oh, what's his name? Jeremy? I think it's Jeremy.
I don't remember.
He had these powers, and that was the first one. Where do you think it goes? We got 5 levels. We got Super, because this is Superman.
Uh-huh.
We got Awesome, Bleh, Crud, and Dumb. Where do you think this one belongs? And we can always change it later on as we go, but where do you think we're going to put it for now?
Either Awesome or Super, but I don't know if it, belongs up in Super, because there's really nothing crazy about it. Mm-hmm. There's nothing inventive, because everything that's in there is kind of things that people that already know Superman would know, right? Mm-hmm. So it's nothing new or inventive, necessarily. Mm-hmm. So I would think probably Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, the only reason I would put it...
But it's a good episode.
The only reason I'd be tempted to put it in Super is because if this hadn't worked, none of the rest of the show would have worked.
That's true.
But there are a lot of things that take it down for me. Just a lot of very odd things when you think about it. Like that whole scene with Lana and Clark at the grave at the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Talking to the parents. I think it's supposed to be this cute thing. Mm-hmm. It's always... I've seen this pilot episode probably at least a dozen times. Uh-huh. It's always been kind of odd to me. Mm-hmm. And very strange. Mm-hmm. And then other things... There's also the iconic shot. The cover of the whole season with Clark the scarecrow. Yes. But when you think about it, that's a really messed up thing. Yeah. You got the jocks coming and finding some freshman guy, tying him up, and that's weird. Yeah. Very strange thing. Yeah. But yeah, so I think we'll put it at Awesome for now. If we move it later, that's fine. But we'll put it at Awesome. The Smallville pilot. It's awesome-tacular. Yeah. Alright, then we moved on to Metamorphosis, and basically that's the one, I just remember it as, that's the Bug Dude episode. Right? Okay. That's the guy, I don't know if you remember it was the one where he was he was stalking Lana. Okay. He was going recording her and stuff, really creepy. Everybody stalks Lana. But he was stalking Lana, he was recording her, his parent, his mom found out, and he comes home one day, and she's like, oh my gosh, is this what you do in your free time? Greg. His name's Greg. She calls him Greg. Okay. And so, she's like, is this what you do in your free time, Greg? And he's like, argh! And he, gets mad. He grabs all of his bugs, and he leaves. He crashes. He turns into this, bug dude. Right? And then they go on this whole thing where he kind of kills his mom. Mm-hmm. And then he captures Lana. This is the episode where Clark saves Whitney when his car explodes. Okay. And then Clark also figures out about how lead seemingly protects him from kryptonite and stuff. And that I don't know if you remember that. That was the second episode we ever watched.
I don't really remember much about that one. Okay. If I'm being honest.
Okay.
Some of the scenes sound familiar, but I don't really remember it as a whole. Okay. I don't know if that should tell me where I should rank it, because I don't really remember it that much.
I'll help in on this one. Most of these I'm wanting it to be her ranking them, because I've got my own opinions, but since this is her first time watching them, I'm hoping it's mainly going to be hers. But since she's only seen these once, I can understand. It's a lot to take in.
Like
So I'll help out with this one. This one, I'd put it more towards bleh, because it's just like, it's so-so. But the thing is, there are a lot of like really good episodes in this season, I think. And so I would almost turn the bleh one into actually more of a positive category.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to need more fluctuation with the top 3 categories.
Okay.
And so I'm actually going to put this one at crud, even though I don't think it's that bad. Like these are arbitrary, right? It's just, they're just levels. When I say bleh, it's whatever. I'm going to put it at crud because to me it is more of a bleh episode. I just didn't really name these very well.
Okay.
Right? I guess you could call it be better, but it's like better than crud. You know what? We're going to do that. Let's just, instead of bleh, this is better than crud. There you go. So that's better than crud. This is just crud. So crud is more of the bleh, because I think it's a pretty strong season.
Yeah.
So overall, I would put it up, but I think there's going to be, we need more room for to move around up there.
Okay.
Okay, so that was Metamorphosis. Then we moved on to Hothead. This is the episode with the coach. You remember the coach? He had like major anger issues.
Yes.
And he had the sauna or the steam room or whatever.
Yes.
With like the kryptonite air and stuff. And he gets really mad.
Yes.
He tries to kill the principal. Spoiler alert, the principal actually ends up dying later that year. The principal had a real rough year. But yeah, this is the one with the... So the coach is really messed up. This is where Clark wants to play football.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember that part. I do remember that part. And then his parents are like completely against it.
Jonathan especially, yeah.
Yes. Okay, I do remember that part. I don't know why I don't really remember the beginning ones.
Well, we watched these pretty quickly.
Maybe that's so, because like whenever I'm looking like at the other ones, I can recall most of the other ones. But it's like the first 4, I'm like, well, not the pilot. I remember the pilot. But like the other 3, I'm like, what went on there? Yeah,
that's one of the benefits of like having seen these over years and years. I mean, you just took in 21 episodes over the course of like, I think 2 weeks, which isn't... I mean, for somebody who's first time viewing it, I could see how that'd be harder to like remember all the different things. So...
Especially because each of them, they all connect, but they each kind of have a different plot, like with the different antagonists in all of them. So it's separate stories going on, not something that's like continuous to where you can like retrace your steps backwards. It kind of is separate, which some things do connect.
Yeah, and the later seasons
they're separate.
The later seasons will change that.
Okay.
The later seasons will help out towards more continuous plots, but it's mainly the first like 3 seasons or so. It's going to be a lot of this like...
I like it though. I think it's cool. Like it's a really cool concept because I've never seen a show like it. So I like it like this, but it makes it really hard to remember.
So where do we put Hothead?
Well, I feel like I remember it more than Metamorphosis, so I feel like we could put it above it.
Okay. Above it or to the side? Which one?
Put it to the side.
To the side?
Yeah.
We can always move it.
Yeah.
We can move it. Okay. Then we get to X-Ray. This is where Clark develops a new power.
Okay, this is where they, in like the antique shop, and they see the dead body.
Tina.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one, okay. Got it.
And Pete is just apparently so accustomed to seeing dead bodies.
Yeah, no reaction
like, literally,
at all.
The mom just falls out of like this cupboard thing, and Pete's just like, ugh. I'm like, dude, this supposed to be like a freshman kid. A dead body just fell, and he's just like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, we're only 4 episodes in. Man, this kid, like, he's probably a serial killer or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is with Tina, shape-shifting Tina. This is the one that opens up with Lex robbing the bank. And then Tina's got this jealousy thing for Lana. Clark develops X-ray vision. He's learning how to control that. Where do we place this?
Okay, I feel like that one needs to be above these 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I would agree because I really love the episodes where Clark develops new powers.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like they almost introduce a new power every season, kind of. I love it. I love those episodes because it's so fun seeing him try to do that. And I'd say X-Ray is definitely... I'd almost put it in awesome, but I don't think it really comes anywhere near the pilot level.
Yeah.
So I think when we say better than crud, really these titles just aren't... They're just all really good episodes. So I'd almost say this is just better, but whatever.
Because Smallville's just good in general.
Absolutely.
So it's like...
Yes. It's a Smallville, but it's a great show. It's a big show. I don't know what I was going for there. Okay, now we move on to Cool. This is the episode with the guy who... You remember this one,
He takes the heat from other people.
Yes. You have that creepy scene in the shower where the girl's like in the shower and she's like, hey, you want to come join? Don't do that. He shows up and he just kills her. And he tries to date Chloe because poor Chloe, she just attracts all the terrible guys.
Yeah.
Like, so where do we place this episode?
It wasn't my favorite. I feel like I remember it more than these two, but it wouldn't be above this. So maybe here?
Okay.
Next to it?
Okay. So better than Crud. Alright. Then we get to Hourglass, which personally for me, one of my favorite episodes of the season. Because this is the episode where you have two freaks, right? One of them is bad, one of them's good. One of them's the old guy who used to be a killer, and then he becomes young again.
Yes.
And then
with the wheelchair.
Yeah, with the wheelchair, he goes in the water.
And she's volunteering at the. Okay.
Yes, and then the other one is Cassandra, who's the chick who can touch people and see their futures.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where we see Lex
this is great.
as the president and like the raining blood, and then you see Clark and the tombstones and all that stuff. I love this episode. Yeah. Where do we place it?
That one goes in super.
Super?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I really like this one.
Yeah.
This is where I start to feel really bad for Lex too. Because that's whenever, like, she dies, whenever he tries to see the future, and, like, he just has to live with that.
Yeah, and his reaction is like, yeah, poor Lex. I feel bad for Lex this entire season.
Yeah.
And then
that one's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very good episode. Then we moved on to Craving, which this is the one with Lois Lane from Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Amy Adams. This is where everybody calls her fat. She's really not that fat. She's a little heavy, right? She's not... I don't get why... I mean, nobody should be, like, made fun of for it, but I don't get why they're teasing her as much, because she's really not that heavy. But she goes on this kryptonite smoothie diet, loses a bunch of weight, gets very hungry, eats a deer on the side of the road with a big mouth, and then she
opens like a cobra or something.
Yes, it's some crazy stuff. And then what else? This is where she goes after Pete.
Yeah, I was about to say, and
she actually cares for Pete.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, Clark's friends just attract the weirdest people.
Yep.
But okay, where do we put Craving?
I didn't really like this one that much.
Yeah, it's always creeped me out.
Yeah. I mean, it's creepy, but it's also just like, if I'm just like looking like at the freak of the week itself, it's like not a very strong one, and it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I feel bad because I like Amy Adams, but I really this episode, I will be honest, it gave me nightmares.
Really?
I can recall waking up from nightmares where I saw that mouth opening up. Terrified me so much.
I feel like if I was a kid, I would have nightmares from that. Yeah.
So where are you thinking, crud or dumb? And once again, when we're saying dumb, it just means it's the lowest one.
I was about to say, I feel bad putting it there because it's not horrible, but then again, none of them are horrible.
Yeah.
I'd probably put it on the last one.
Okay.
Because I just don't really like it that much. It would I try to also think of it as, like, when I look at these episodes, which one, if I had to, like, just look at season 1 and be like, okay, if I could go back and rewatch any of them, which one would I pick? And I would never pick to rewatch that one. But, like, Hourglass or the pilot, like, I would still go back and watch those.
It's funny because I actually did one time just go back and just rewatch Craving.
Really?
But not because I enjoyed it, just because it was like I wanted to see if it was as scary as I remembered. Yeah. And so I was like, there's a few episodes of Smallville where I was so young. It's not a scary show, but there were some things where it's like they would try to freak you out with like some of the supernatural elements and stuff, and especially in the later seasons. I recall being so terrified. Yeah. But then we got to Jitters, which this is episode what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is episode 8 of the season. Nice. Jitters is the one with Earl, the shaking guy. And
traps all the kids inside.
Yes, he traps the kids, and it ends with them at level 3. And this is the one where the whole episode actually ends with Lex hugging Lionel and looking over at Clark with Jonathan and Martha. Okay. Where does this go?
Okay, it's somewhere between awesome and super. Because I really like the character development in this one. I would go back and rewatch this one. I really like this episode.
I think I especially like the second half of the episode. It's almost like the reverse of the pilot. The pilot, I really like the first half, but once it gets to like the electric, like I think it's Jeremy. Yeah. I think he's a weaker character. Like I think they could have picked a better one to start off the whole show with. But the first half of the pilot, I think, is pure gold. I love it. Like I love how they set up everything. Yeah. Jitters, the first half, like Earl, the shaking guy. I don't think he's that awesome, but the end of it, that's the part I remember. In my mind, I thought the hostage situation was the entire episode. Like, that was just in my mind. Yeah. And so, whenever we were, like, 20 minutes in, I was like, I must be getting the episodes confused. And then we got there, I was like, oh, this is the episode. I love this episode. But yeah, so, where do we put it? It's on, you said it's on awesome. Yeah. Is it above or below behind the pilot?
I kind of want to put it above, just because I like the comparison between Lex and his dad, and then Clark and his parents.
Yeah.
Like, that just, for some reason, has stuck with me the entire season. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a few scenes that I've, like, remembered, and that's one of them, because I think that set it up for all of the rest of the episodes that were to come. You see that constant struggle, and that's kind of where it started. And, yeah. I also really like Lex.
Yeah.
So.
Lex is cool.
Yeah.
Michael Rosenbaum, he's my favorite. He's also my favorite Lex Luthor anywhere. Mm-hmm. And if you disagree with that, you're wrong. And that is a factual statement. It's not opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay, then we get to Rogue. That's episode 9 of season 1. And this is the one where we're introduced to the dirty cop who sees Clark stopping that bus.
Oh, okay.
So this is the one that opens up in Metropolis. It seems like it's one of Clark's first times to go to Metropolis. Mm-hmm. And he's there. He stops this bus. And this guy comes after Clark and tries to blackmail him.
Yeah.
What did you think about this episode?
Is this the one where he plants the body in the barn?
Yes. Okay, and Jonathan goes to prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this one was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did like this one. That guy was crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely psycho.
This is the one wherever him and Jonathan meet up at the coffee shop and Jonathan pins him down.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Don't test me!
Love that episode. I think it's on Awesome. I don't know if I'd put it above Pilot, though. Put it above both of them on Awesome.
Above both of them?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's almost on Super, but not yet. Just because I really also like Jonathan.
Okay, there we go.
Also, I really like Jonathan, and he has a lot in this episode, and I like how he stands up for his family and stuff, and that's great.
Jonathan's 100% one of my favorite characters.
Absolutely.
Lex is probably my favorite character in the whole show. I hate to say that because I'm a big Superman fan, but Lex is just so good. Like, Michael Rosenbaum is, to me, the definitive Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. Tom Welling, he might be my favorite Superman. I don't know, mainly just because I spent so much time with him, but I also really like Henry Cavill and Christopher Reeve, so I can't say that he's my favorite because I don't know.
He plays a good Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen all of them to be able to attest to that, but what I've seen, like, he plays a good part.
But John Schneider, 100% favorite Jonathan Kent. He is just so good, and he just feels like a real dad.
Yes.
In the sense, well, he's a real dad, but also, like, still above and beyond. Because he's such a righteous man who teaches these great values, but he's also not too perfect. Yeah. You know, he's got anger issues, he's got pride, so he's got these issues, but overall, amazing person. And you can see how Clark ends up who he becomes.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
It's beautiful.
How his father shapes him, yeah.
Okay, then we move on to Shimmer. This is the one with the brother and sister, and you're trying to guess which one's the one who can turn invisible. The one girl has, like, the shrine to Lex. They're staying in the Luthor Mansion. It's just, like, randomly. It's like, oh, yeah, by the way, we have these people staying at the Luthor Mansion, and apparently they've been there this entire time. We just never knew about it. And this one girl's infatuated with Lex. And this is whenever Lex has that one girl that he's been kind of seeing, and she gets attacked in the tub. Clark comes and saves her.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, now I remember that episode.
Kind of a weird episode.
It's not very memorable, and I didn't really like it that much. So it's on a lower level.
So here's my opinion. Feel free to... Okay. I would say it would probably go below Craving, just because Craving is at least memorable.
Yeah.
Whereas Shimmer, I've seen it multiple times and I almost forgot what it was about.
Yeah.
The only reason I remember is because I'm looking at the little thumbnail there, which is literally an invisible hand reaching into water. And I was like, yes, it's coming back. So I would almost put it below just because it, to me, is a very forgettable episode. And it's also very random.
Yeah.
So, is that fine with you?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay, we'll put that there. And then we get to episode, I think this is 11, right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this is episode 11.
Oh, wait, they switched.
What?
They switched.
Oh, whoops. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, now we're at episode 11. And episode 11 is Hug. And this is the one with the two guys who they can grab people's hands and persuade them.
Okay.
So first off, we have Bob, who's the businessman guy. See? It makes you remember stuff, right? So you got businessman Bob, and he is evil. And so he uses the handshaking thing to, like, persuade people to do things that will financially benefit him. Or just benefit him in general. And then you have Crazy Kyle, which I didn't even have to give him that name. They gave him that name in the episode.
Yeah.
And Crazy Kyle's the guy who realizes that his power is dangerous, and so he goes and secludes himself and stays away from everything. And so this is where you have Jonathan selling the farm, because they convince him to do that. You have Whitney attacking Crazy Kyle. You have Lex coming after Clark. This is the first episode where Clark gets shot by bullets and he has the bruises.
Yes.
What do you think about this episode?
Okay, I really liked this one because, again, it goes with Clark kind of like seeing his powers. And the one thing I really like is that it shows the progression of his powers. We talked about that. About how he, like, still has bruises. So he's not, like, beginning this entire thing completely just, like, immune to everything.
Yes.
He's still able to be, like, injured, but not to the point to where it causes death.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool, because then in the later episode it talks about how he doesn't feel heat, and he's not bruised at all, stuff like that. But, so I really like that part. And then this is where they are, like, at the gas station, the car blows up, or whatever, at the end,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like this one needs to be on Awesome, too.
Awesome?
Because I don't think it could be on that. Yeah, I think it has to be on
so we're
Awesome.
at on Awesome.
See, this is when it gets hard, because now I have to put stuff in between.
Mm-hmm. I would say that Hug at least can go behind the pilot there. Right?
Yeah,
just because when it comes to just likability, the main reason I like the pilot is just because it sets everything up. It's just like, it's got a very nostalgic thing, and you get a lot of important stuff. Okay, then we get to episode 12, which is Leech, and this is the one where we have Shawn Ashmore, I believe, playing Eric, right? Arrogant Eric, and he's the one who, he's on the edge of the dam, and he starts falling off the side. Clark grabs him, a lightning bolt hits, very conveniently, and they swap, right? Yes. So all of a sudden, Eric has Clark's powers. Clark, for the first time, doesn't have powers. And so we have Lana talking to him about, wow, it's like the weight of the world is off of you. But then also Eric ends up going kind of crazy because his parents are trash.
Yes.
So what do you think about that episode?
Okay. 2 things I like about it. One, I think it shows how Clark could use his powers for a lot of evil things and bad things, but he chooses not to. And that's shown through, what was the name again?
Eric.
Okay, yeah. It's shown through Eric because he uses it for completely opposite reasons than Clark does. And then it also kind of like pulls at your heartstrings a little bit because Clark's able to be a regular kid, right? He can go, like, there's a scene where he, like, plays basketball.
Such a good scene.
And, yes, it's so good. And, like, Lana's on the side, like, cheering him on and everything, and he's able to, like, actually, like, feel, like, pain a little bit. Like, he, like, hurt his elbow, but he's, like, having fun and, like, smiling the whole time. Not good at basketball at all. Not good. But, like, he's having the time of his life, and it's like, he gets to, but it's like you want him to be able to have those experiences, but at the same time, you're like, no, like, Eric can't have your powers because now he's doing bad things. Like, you need to have your powers back. And you also just want him to be Superman because that's what you know him as. So it's like, getting the struggle of that.
Well, and then the episode ends with, Clark and Jonathan talking about how Clark really views his parents as the greatest gift of all, which I think that's cool. I love little moments like that. I think it's really important to me. I don't know, just whenever I'm watching any show, I really like it whenever parents are good parents, but for some reason it's really cool to me whenever kids appreciate their parents. That's something that's, like, overlooked a lot in shows, and so it always, like, warms my heart whenever you actually encounter a kid who recognizes the amazing parents he's got or she's got. That's always something that really warms my heart, and so I love those episodes whenever Clark tells his parents, like, I appreciate y'all. Like, y'all are really great, the greatest gifts. Like, y'all are my superpower. I love that.
Yeah.
So where does this go?
Okay, there's 3 places we can. I feel like it could almost be in Super because I really like it.
Okay.
But I think it could either also be in front of Rogue or it needs to be behind it because I think it's above Jitters.
Okay.
But I think it relates to Rogue a lot because it has, like, the whole parent situation, and that's seen in Rogue too because his dad goes to prison and all that kind of stuff, and he's, like, standing up for him. But, like, part of me wants to put it on Super because I really like that episode. I think we could put it there.
Put it on Super?
Yeah.
Okay, behind Hourglass?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hourglass.
Let's do it. Really then we get Kinetic.
Okay.
This is the Kryptonite tattoo episode.
Oh, yeah. This
with
one's
Whitney.
I would have never... Okay, thinking about it from the, like, producer or writer perspective, I would have never thought to do that.
Yeah.
One thing I like about the show is that they use, like, Kryptonite not just as the stone itself, because as someone who... What?
Well, you're saying, like, I would have never thought to do that. And to me, when I hear that, I agree. But at the same time, I think it's because... This is my opinion. You might be totally different.
Okay.
I think it's a really stupid idea. Like, it is interesting, but the reason why you would have never thought about it is because I think that... I don't know who wrote this. I think you might just have better ideas than whoever wrote it.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that you would have a good imagination to come up with good ideas with Kryptonite. The reason why you would have never thought of this is because I genuinely think it's so dumb.
I would have never thought of it.
It's cool, but it's so cheesy. It's like, what... Like, I look at this episode, you might have a totally different opinion, so don't let what I say for that. This episode, to me, I actively, like, while we were watching it, I didn't look ahead to see what episode we were going to get to. Whenever this episode came on, I was like, oh. It's the kryptonite tattoo episode. It's, to me, I don't know, like, it's just, it's really weird in there, because Whitney just, it's like his low point, and I don't know, he just goes crazy, and he just, like, starts doing drugs and getting drunk and getting tattoos, and I'm like, what's happening? And I don't know, but it is an entertaining episode, so I don't know, like, it doesn't automatically go to dumb, because I think we're doing this off of how much we enjoy the episode. Yeah. But what did you think? Like, just keep saying what you were thinking.
The only thing I remember from the episode is the fact that they got tattoos. I remember nothing of the plot.
I know that Whitney's dad was already having issues at this point, because that's why he started doing drugs and everything and stuff. Did he start doing drugs? He might have just drank alcohol. I have no idea. It's just stuff you're not supposed to do, right? But, so where do we place it?
I feel like between Craving and Shimmer.
Craving and Shimmer. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, because it is more memorable than Shimmer.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. The only thing that I, like, whenever I hear Shimmer and I look at that, the only scene that pops in my head is whenever she's in the bathtub and, she gets, they're trying to drown her. That's the only thing I remember. Okay,
and then we get to episode 0. It's not episode number 0, but it's called 0, and this is the one that takes place at Club Zero. This is the basically mystery episode a little bit, where it's all about Lex's past and this person coming after him and trying to figure out who did it, and Clark eventually comes and saves him, and we learned that Lex has, like, covered up this one girl who, like, killed her husband on accident. Well, maybe on accident, I don't know. But what do you think about it?
Favorite scene is the police officer, whenever Clark goes and asks him where Club Zero is, and he just happens to know where every club is, when it's closed, when it's open, and the location of everything.
It's so funny, because I feel like it's such, like, a, like, it's not really that funny of a scene, but we, like, paused the show.
That was hilarious.
And we created this entire scenario for, like, you can see it in our reaction video to the show. Like, we went on a long thing about this. I feel like the episode, like, the scene itself in the episode isn't that funny. No. But to me, whenever I saw it, I was just in a weird mood, and I was like, hold up. I had to pause it. We created this entire scenario, so it made it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But, so where do we put it?
I think it was memorable, so I don't think it goes on the bottom one. Maybe behind Cool?
Behind Cool. Oh, Cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Behind Cool. Okay. Boom. There we go.
Yeah.
Then we get the Nicodemus episode. This is the one with the flower, right? The flower that sprays kryptonite.
Yes.
So we get Jonathan, Lana, and Pete acting crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Jonathan starts making out with Martha. He starts burping in Lex's face. And then he starts grabbing a shotgun to go down to the bank and shoot some people up.
Yes.
Ends up shooting Clark. Ends up passing out. Going to the hospital. Lana decides to dress. I think it's supposed to be, like, attractive. It's kind of just weird. She dresses like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it was supposed to be an inappropriate way to dress, but ultimately it was just kind of like, it just looked odd. But the way Clark describes it is gulp. He's like, ooh, I think the appropriate word is gulp. And then what she does is she takes him to the pool, and then she ends up dressing in a way that, to a teenage boy, would definitely be more attractive.
Yeah.
Not very appropriate.
No.
But, she does some stuff and goes swimming. You get some allusions to some Fast Times on Ridgemont High. I don't know. So we get this whole scene with Lana. And then eventually she goes to the windmill and she passes out at the windmill. Boom. And then eventually Pete also gets infected. He decides to go kill Lex because he hates Lex because he feels neglected. And also because Lionel, like, kind of did this whole thing against his parents and stuff. So, what do you think about this episode?
Kind of sad that Lana doesn't remember, like, their first kiss. That's the that's the one, like, sad part. I like the ending scene whenever they're, like, on top of the windmill. That's really cute.
She's like, I didn't do anything, right? He's like, no, not at all. And you can see it in her face. She's like,
I did something.
It's good.
Okay. I feel like this one could go on awesome. I don't think it really should go on super.
Yeah.
I don't love it that much. Probably above hug.
Above hug.
Yeah.
Alright. There we go. I actually really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed Nicodemus. It's a fun one. I like episodes whenever people are acting how they normally don't act. Yeah. Especially whenever you get to see, like, their unfiltered reactions, you know? So you get to see that Jonathan has a lot of bitterness built up, but it testifies to his character.
Right.
Because that means he's actively always choosing to not exercise that. And then also with Lana, right? She's got a lot of anger over the fact that, you know, she, or not necessarily anger, she's got, like, this pent-up emotion, like, she feels guilty about the fact that she is almost with Whitney out of guilt. Yeah. And she also has this desire to just go and be, like, this very crazy person who's kind of just throwing herself out there and throwing herself at men. And all this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, these are a lot of emotions. But that shows the strength of their character, that they're always choosing to not express themselves that way. And Lana actually chooses to express herself as a dignified woman, who is not super dignified because she's kind of like hanging out with two guys at the same time. But much better than the Lana we see there. And, like, I don't know, it testifies their character. So I really like episode Nicodemus. Yeah. That's fun. And it's also named after a Bible character.
It is.
Right? So, hey, you can't go wrong. And then we get to episode Stray. And that is the one where we get to meet Ryan, the boy who can read people's minds. Yeah. Right? We get to see Clark being like a big brother. What do you think about that episode?
Yeah, I really like this one. I like this one a lot. Just because I thought it was cool that they used a little kid. Because all the, like, freak characters, they are all adults. So I thought it was cool that they used a little kid. And I really like that you get to see Clark be kind of, like, protective, but in a brotherly way. Because he doesn't have any siblings. Yeah. So I really like that episode.
And Ryan will return, just an FYI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's coming back. Yeah, but spoiler alert, we're not talking about that yet. She doesn't know. But where does Stray go?
I feel like I like that one more than Rogue. Man, does
More than Rogue?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the awesome, right more than Rogue?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I worded that weird. Right more than Rogue. In the awesome. Okay, why is it? Okay, let's switch. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Acting weird. And then we get Reaper. This is the one with the guy who basically tries to kill his mother. She asks him to. Oh. And then he can touch people and, like, make them decay. Yeah. And then he eventually kills himself. We get some good Martha and Clark scenes in here, I think. And there's other stuff that happens. Not sure what.
Yeah, I don't really remember this one that much. I think it's, I don't know. This is the power that I think is kind of dumb in my opinion. Just because, I don't know. I think it's the ending, the fact that he puts his hands together and he just decays. Like, you're telling me that you have never put your hands together at any other point in your life. Like, how did you figure out that was the way?
Well, to be fair, he didn't get this power until the beginning of the episode.
That's true.
So, because it was like, I'm pretty sure whenever he killed his mom, the people came in. Well, she didn't end up dying, right? The people came in to stop him, and then he ended up falling out of a window, and he landed in some way to where I think the kryptonite, like, pierced him. So, it's not that he never touched his hands at all, ever. It was just, like, in the last week.
But how?
Yeah,
how do you? I don't know. That's just. I feel like there could have been a different way that he could have decayed himself. But I don't really remember much except for the opening scene where he tries to kill his mom because I thought that was absolutely insane. And then I remember the ending scene where he puts his hands together, and that's about it.
Boom. So where'd it go?
Probably between Kinetic and Shimmer.
Kinetic
because I still remember more than that than I remember Shimmer. I literally
poor
Shimmer. Nothing.
Shimmer's just getting knocked down. And then we have Drone, and that's the one with B-Girl who takes being a class president way too seriously.
Oh, this one's my least favorite episode.
Oh, Julie. Well, we know where that's going.
well, now that I see it by Shimmer, those are pretty much even in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
That one's, she takes the class thing way too seriously, and it's not actually like that in high school.
But this is the episode where we see that Clark knows how to start an explosion by throwing a screwdriver at a propane tank.
Yeah.
Come on, like, it's the best episode ever.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Then we get Crush, which is where Chloe gets a little bit of a crush on another guy who's also a deranged killer. Right? He's got telekinetic powers. It's Adam Brody. And this is also the episode where Clark, all of a sudden, randomly, seems to also be interested in Chloe. Mainly because she's interested in somebody else for once. Yeah. And he's like, I don't like that. I need everybody to like me. So he's all of a sudden into Chloe. What do you think about this episode?
I think the only thing I really remember is the whole love interest thing, which, I mean, I guess that's what that episode's centered around. But
the principal dies. He gets pinned by the car in his garage.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. Yes. It's not my favorite, but it's also not a horrible episode.
I'm gonna put it on crud.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's a... Like, I don't know if it's better than crud.
True.
Like, it's an alright episode, but where does it go? Like, above Hothead, above Metamorphosis, below? Where do we put it?
Those two, I honestly don't remember too much from that, so I feel like I can't really say.
It's funny, I remember these ones really well, but that's mainly because, think about it this way, there's been multiple times where I've just, like, put in the Smallville Season 1 disc and just start watching it, and these are the second and third episodes, right? Yeah. So, usually by then, I'm like, okay, I've had my Smallville fix, and I like, stop watching it, so I never get to the end of the season. That's why I remember those ones, because I've seen them a lot more. But, where do we put it? Above those? Because you said you like, okay. Yeah. You remember it more?
Yeah.
Man, these things, like, acting weird for me. Okay. And then we got 2 more episodes. We got episode 20, Obscura. This is the one where... Whitney and Lana are out riding their horses. Whenever they get back, there's these pipes having some issues, and then boom, all of a sudden Lana, there's a big explosion, Lana can now see visions. Chloe gets kidnapped. Clark's scared because his girl, who he's all of a sudden attracted to, has been kidnapped, but also he's still kind of into Lana and is just only wanting to pursue Chloe because it's like a second option. And, you know, Lana's dating Whitney, whose dad died at the end of the last episode, I believe.
I think so.
It ultimately turns out it's one of the cops who is the killer. He's got, like, the weird, cool glasses that I also actually... I have those glasses somewhere. And, yeah.
This is the one where they frame Lex to kill the animals? Or no?
No, that was back in Club Zero.
Oh.
But I think it's this episode whenever Lex tries to pay Jonathan back for that.
Oh, okay.
I think. It might be a different episode, but yes.
One thing that I have to say about this episode is the fact that Clark and Lana are both, like, wishy-washy and, like, in between. So it's almost like they need to be together, and then, like, Chloe and Whitney need to be together.
Buckle up for the next few seasons, girl. This is crazy stuff.
Because they're both guilty of, like, do I want to date this person? Do I want to date this person? But it's like, y'all are both that, so just date each other.
Yeah.
And save, like, the other two people are so loyal. Like, Whitney, we talked about how he has, like, a really good character arc, right? Yeah. And he started off as, like, you know, the jock that's pinning people up in the middle of a cornfield. So, I mean, he has come a long way, and now he's so loyal, and he wants to give everything to Lana. And then Chloe has been, like, chasing after Clark this entire time, and, like, finally gets her hands on him, and is like, I want to be, like, so loyal to you. But neither of them, like, give it back. So it's like a 100 one way and, like, a 25 the other.
I feel like Clark and Lana are very possessive people.
Yeah.
You know, like, Lana, she's got a boyfriend who she's not willing to break up with, right? And even if she doesn't want to be with him, she's not willing to break up with him. I think she should. And she knows that Clark likes her, and she likes Clark, but then she gets mad whenever Clark won't kiss her. And it's like, well, you've got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then, like, whenever Clark starts liking Chloe, Lana gets jealous. And it's like, you have no right to be jealous. You're dating somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, if break up with Whitney, date Clark.
Yeah.
You have no reason to get jealous. Yeah. But then Clark, same exact issue.
Yeah.
Right? He's afraid to pursue Lana, even whenever Lana has, like, got some freedom there and stuff. But then, Chloe over here has liked him this entire time, which, to be fair, I can understand why he didn't pick up on that, because it seems like there'd be, like, every few episodes she would give him, like, this longing glance, and then there was the one episode, like, with Crazy Kyle, where Kyle, like, convinces her to kiss Clark, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess she likes him.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't see it a whole lot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all of a sudden, Chloe decides to like somebody else, Clark gets jealous.
Yeah. And
I'm like, dude, like, you and Lana have the same problem.
Yeah.
Like, you have the ability to pursue this person. Like, Lana, break up with Whitney, pursue Clark. Don't get jealous when Clark likes somebody else.
Yeah.
Clark, you could easily forget about Lana, pursue Chloe. Don't get mad when Chloe pursues somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, they're possessive of somebody they have no right to be possessive over, right?
Well, it's like they wanted to, like, play, like, the hard to get game.
It failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, darn, backfired. Oh, I forgot. We're trying to rank these. We're just talking randomly. Okay, where do we put Obscura?
I want to put it on awesome. There's so many on awesome. I feel like awesome doesn't even have, like, what does awesome mean anymore? Yeah. Because it's like half the episodes are on awesome.
Okay, well, I'll help you out. We'll put it on better than crud.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it makes awesome level.
Yeah.
Because to me it's kind of a weird episode. Because honestly, right now I don't remember that much about it. It's the second to last episode of the season. I just remember Lana has visions. And there's this one scene where Clark, like, punches into the ground and pulls, like, a full-out casket out of the ground because Chloe's been buried alive.
Yes.
Other than that, I don't remember a whole lot.
Okay, yeah.
But
good.
so where do we put it on Better Than Crud?
I feel like I like 0 better than that one, so I would probably say at the end of it.
Okay, there we go. And then we have the season finale.
Yeah.
Of Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
This is the episode where we get Clark and Chloe going to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
Pete going to the dance with the hottest girl in the school, apparently. You know, I always thought the whole season, I thought that Pete was supposed to be just like this guy who was all talk but no game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where he's just like, oh yeah, like I'm a total chick magnet. And then I thought it was like, you know, he was a wannabe.
Yeah.
But then apparently he actually did score a date with the hottest girl in school. I'm like, oh wow, nice, okay.
Yeah.
But then we also get Lex maybe letting Lionel die? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I actually do know. She doesn't know. And so, yeah. Lana tornado. Clark runs in tornado.
Yes.
This is how the show ends. Jonathan. Oh, the one guy, Roger, he figures out Clark's secret, blows up the truck. Mm-hmm. You know, he finds the storm cellar. Jonathan chases him out into the storm.
Yes.
The spaceship activates.
Mm-hmm. We get the little token dude.
Where's that? Oh, there it is. We get this. We get this bad boy. I mean, this was found a few episodes earlier, but now Roger gets his hands on it, and it lowers into the spaceship, takes off.
Yes.
So, where do we put this?
I really liked the season finale. I thought it ended really well.
Big fan.
Yeah, I like it a whole lot. So I think it goes up on Super.
All right, I'll take it. Where at on Super?
Man.
Is it above Hourglass? Is it above Leech? I don't know. What do you think?
I think Hourglass is my favorite. I don't think I could put it above that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we could put it above
Leech.
Because I really like the ending scene about, I don't know, you see like the struggle with Lana a lot, and then Whitney's going off, and the entire time...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. Whitney leaves.
Yeah. And she doesn't feel, I guess, like... I don't think she realizes, like, her conscious thoughts and what's going on until, like, the very end, whenever she, like, runs to him and hugs him right before. Because, like, whenever they were trying to dance and everything, she's like, no, quiet, like, I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
Poor Whitney.
And, but yeah, he's about to leave, and all he wants to do is talk to his girlfriend, because he's not going to be able to talk to her anymore.
We get that one really creepy line, which I don't know if the writers really thought it through, where he's like, I've loved you since the first time I saw you. It's like, dude... You're a senior in high school. She's a freshman in high school. I certainly hope you didn't love her the first time you saw her, because y'all have been dating for over a year, probably 2 years at this point, which means that you were, what, in 10th grade? You were in 10th grade, she was in 7th grade? That's kind of weird. And did you see her before then, or did y'all just, like, immediately start dating? I don't know.
Yeah, a little weird.
Kind of odd.
Because if you were adults, that wouldn't be as weird. But the fact once you put yourself like in school, then it becomes like
kind of odd,
real weird,
kind of weird. But yeah, really good episode, really good season.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised we had so many dumb episodes in there. But now that I look back, there are some kind of dumb ones in there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was saying that dumb wasn't an accurate description, but looking at the episodes we got there,
kind of.
They're pretty dumb. I mean, you got the kryptonite shake, right? Kryptonite smoothie. You got kryptonite tattoos. You got, I don't even remember what gave him his powers. He like fell in something and like stabbed him. I don't know. And then you got kryptonite, like, I guess, lotion.
Yeah, you just rub it on yourself, and then if you take a napkin and wipe it, you become, you can see yourself again.
And then we got, somehow kryptonite allows you to control bees. I don't know. But yeah, so those are actually pretty dumb episodes, but overall, great season. Yeah. Honestly, I'd say this is one of the better seasons of Smallville. Mainly because, first off, nostalgia. Second off, if this season didn't work, there would not be 9 more seasons.
Yeah.
And you will see, because there are some seasons, they just don't work.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so people are relying on something here. And season 1 was such a strong start for Smallville. I think they were only planning on doing 5 seasons. Just looking at it, it really seems like you'll see this as we go. Okay. This isn't much of a spoiler. It seems like after season 5, he should have become Superman, and then they should have like maybe just made a show called Metropolis, and then done like 5 more seasons there, because it does get to a point where I like the last few seasons more than a lot of people do. A lot of people just really like the earlier ones. I do like the last few seasons. But there's a certain point where you're like, you should be Superman. And he's also basically Superman, just not with the name. But yeah, this is a very strong season.
It was hard to rank those.
Yeah, but I think you did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I think is maybe, like, the awesome area, like, those could move around probably a little bit.
Like, I could say some of those would almost make it into super.
Yeah.
Let's bump some up.
I feel like Nicodemus can go in between those two.
Nicodemus is going to go in between here.
Yeah, because I remember that one a lot more than Rogue, and I liked all of the characters and everything they did in that one.
Yeah. Okay.
And then part of me almost wants to put the pilot last in Super, just because of the sheer, like, nostalgic part of it. But then at the same time, I don't know if I could rank it above Stray. You know? Because the only thing that is, like, making me possibly wanting to move it up is because it sets up everything.
Yeah. Hold on, how about this? Look, we'll drag the pilot over here next to Stray, and we'll see, does that satisfy you, or do you need to move it up? What do you think? Like, just how's that look there? Are you satisfied with that ranking?
I feel like you could move it above Stray. Like,
move it above Stray?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Switch those two.
All right.
Yes.
Boom.
Okay, yeah.
Now it looks good? Okay.
Yeah, I think
Sweet.
we could do that.
All right, so we've got, in Season 1, 5 dumb episodes. 3 cruddy episodes. 4 better than crud episodes, which I would say that the better than crud episodes are just, we could just change that to better. Like, because, like...
bumping it up a little bit.
Yeah, because I feel like those are actually, like, saying better than crud makes it sound pretty bad.
Yeah.
But these are strong episodes. Like, those are not negative episodes. Like, these top 3 tiers are positive, I would say.
Right, yeah.
So, we got 4 episodes, which are actually pretty solid episodes. And then we got 6 awesome episodes and 3 super episodes.
Yeah, those 3 are really good.
Very good episodes.
Those deserve to be in that spot, 100%.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's our ranking for Smallville Season 1. Hopefully we will do this at the end of each season.
Yeah.
So that eventually we can compile all of the dumbest episodes and all of the superest episodes.
Yes.
And we can come up with, as I said, the definitive ranking of the Smallville episodes. Hopefully you'll tune in for that.
Yes.
Until then, if you like this episode, please like, please subscribe, please share, please do something to help us actually get people to watch these videos.
Yes.
So we don't make them for nothing. Even though I don't mind making them for nothing because I enjoy just going back and watching these.
Yeah.
And I enjoy editing them because that means more Smallville. And I am always going to hold on to Smallville. But until we see you next time, I'm David.
And I'm Brian.
And I don't know what else to say. I think I messed that up. I don't know. Well, bye, I guess.
See you next time.
See ya.